Taxpayers are the ones getting jobbed. A brand new report showing that people are spending some of that cash in places like Hooters and casinos. My next guest betting that ain't creating a whole lot of jobs. Republican Senator Tom Coburn from Oklahoma, the man behind the report. Well, Senator, I guess at Hooters and casinos, it's creating jobs.
Well, those are two of the extraordinary examples that show you how we're not looking at how we're spending American taxpayers' money. They should enrage people. The GAO report says we don't know how effective our job training programs are. We're spending $18 billion. We've got 47 programs, 9 different federal agencies. It's the absolute height of stupidity that we wouldn't look at it, we wouldn't streamline it, and have 1 or 2 bureaucracies.
So what do? They gather at these places, or they send their people to these places, or when they...
Or they spend their grant money in those places, which is most of the time. They're given grants to supposedly do job training, and what we outlined was just highlighted some of the things that are just outlandish from the GAO report.
The point is, they like to have a lot of parties, and they like to eat. That's fine, but it's on our government dime.
Well, the bigger point, Neil, is the fact that we have a lot of jobs available in our economy right now, but we don't have any job training programs that are training people for those jobs. And when the GAO looks at our job training programs, they say there's no metrics on it to measure how effective they are. What if they're only 50% effective? What that means is $9 billion a year is being blown down the blowhole. And when we're sitting near bankruptcy as a country, we can't afford to send $9 billion down a blowhole. And so with GAO disputes what the response has been to this in terms of they're not effective, and we don't know for sure. Maybe some of them are and some of them aren't. But the fact is Congress hadn't oversighted it, doesn't know what it's doing, and it's throwing money down the hole and not knowing if they're getting any response for it.
I understand, sir. What if they flip it around and say, all right, the ends justify the means, and the ends are we're seeing more job percolation. Not a lot, but more than we were before.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear your question, Neil.
What did they say? The White House goes back and says, well, say what you will, the end result is we're creating more jobs now.
Well, that's fine. Let's have a metric on it that shows that. The fact is they can't demonstrate that. And I'm not for not having job training programs. I'm not sure it's a federal responsibility. But if we're going to spend $18 billion, by dingy, we ought to know that it's going to actually do what it's intended to do. And it's like every other federal groups of programs. We don't look at them, we're not measuring them, and we're not oversighting them. And we need to start that. We are bankrupt as a nation. We're in big trouble in terms of our debt and our deficits. And the way you cure a $1.5 trillion deficit is $9 billion at a time.
But we're not even doing that, right? So we've got this go-slow approach is what's hurting people, right?
That's the whole reason that I asked for all these GAO reports, because my suspicions are borne out 90% of the time, is that we're ineffective and we're inefficient.
All right. Senator, good seeing you again. Thank you very, very much.
Good seeing you. You bet.
Another fine gentleman who was robbed of the chance to discuss the Lindsay Lohan developments. The scene right now in Los Angeles, the young actress, I think she's only 24 years old, getting out of a limo earlier today.